newspaper of general circulation on the creation of a reinvestment zone for purposes of tax abatement to provide economic development within the county. This is going to be for the Hubbard wind project. And so we did this once before with the Prairie Hill wind project, but we actually have to have a public hearing to say that we're going to have a zone part of our county that we will call a reinvestment zone. And so all we need to do now is just make sure that y'all are okay with having this public hearing on September the 8th for this purpose. That's the purpose of it, is to create the reinvestment zone. So that's what y'all would like to do. We'll make it official.
I'll move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to set that date as our public hearing and the notice as such. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
What time are we gonna hold the public hearing?
I'm sure it'll be 10 o'clock. Okay, item number 11 is discuss and take action on Limestone County Firefighters Emergency Service FY 2020 budget request. I received a letter from the association, president of the association, Charles Bratcher. He's here today. Charles, if you would like to visit to say anything to the court, you can. I've got recommendations that I've already kind of talked to you about.
I'll keep my social distance. I'm loud enough. I think
Yes, sir.
everybody can hear me.
Okay, thank you.
My wife says the older I get, the deafer I get, the louder I get. So I don't think that'll be a problem. We, as an association, they voted at the last meeting to make this request of the county that we make some changes in the reimbursement rates and some of the things that we're doing with the county. The request has been made, and the judge might probably share the letter with you, for a raise in the reimbursement rate that we have. It's been decades since that's happened. If I remember correctly, and Lord knows my memory is not always what it should be, Judge Holmes was the judge when we last did a raise for the rate of the association members. We've had at least one fire department come on board since then, that being Shiloh. We've also had another member join back in now, which is my State Living Center Fire Brigade. They've been authorized to respond off the campus, and so they'll be coming to Hardin County now. Anyway, we made the request of a raise of $1,000 per department. We did not include EMS. The two EMS services are currently reimbursed, I believe, $25,000 per year per service. That's Mahia and Limestone EMS. We also talked about the use of some county land for the purposes of training. We'd like to see a dedicated area basically for fire practice, as well as law enforcement practice, as well as the EMS practice. One of the things that that has developed over the years, that we found has developed over the years, is that if you don't train, the business we're in now is dangerous. The business we've always been is dangerous, but it's much more dangerous now than ever was. There's more volatile materials out there. There are more crazy people out there. The old days when the sheriff knew everybody in the county, you could go get whoever he wanted to get. It's just not there anymore. There has to be practice for assault and personal taking of it. EMS the same way, with coronavirus going now. I think this is just one of the things that they have to practice for. Anyway, the idea being that we could look at establishing an area where all these services could practice in some way. We also talked about reimbursing or reallocating the money for that the county has always used for workers' comp to the Firefighters Association, either in some way to allow the association to begin to build up some money so that we could finance things like training. We only charge $25 a member per year because we don't want to get out of sight on what we're charging members as a membership fee. We reserve that money for emergencies and for where we might be up again. We don't have much money, obviously, in the bank to do anything with. But that's basically the gist of our request, and we ask that it be considered in the next budget. Okay.
let me tell you, and I know I talked to you about this.
Sure.
As far
And,
as,
I think just a minute, Alan, is our second vice president, he's here with us today, and I wanted him to hear as well what you guys have to say.
out of order, West Side. We have some land, but right now, we're probably not gonna be able to make a call on it because we've got some other things that are kind of pending.
Sure.
Past that, that may not be something that we can do. I'm recommending in this budget, and I've already got it set in the budget, this right here. The 5,000, I think everyone's in agreement with that, including Commissioner Forrest, who's not here today, talking to him about it. But that's something that we have to do. I know y'all were talking about training and maybe even a scholarship to y'all.
Sure.
And y'all still, the problem that I'm having is finding money. Believe it or not,
I just don't understand.
every department wants more money.
Sure.
I'm gonna recommend that, that we do $25,000. $2,500 apiece.
I was about to say, thank you very much.
Found one.
Yeah, well, they're talking about really.
$2,500 per department, and that'd be times 12. And if that's something that I hope y'all can do. Now, if commissioners want to do more than that, then we'll talk about it at our budget hearing. That's kind of the direction that I found the money, that we can do around $2,500 for the department. And give you the workers' compensation rate. So that's the direction that I'm gonna make that recommendation. If they can want to try to do more, then we'll certainly try to do more. I know that personally, I think since I was, even before I was elected, started coming to y'all's meetings, I think I missed 2. And so I'm able to see firsthand what y'all are doing, what you're trying to do. I know that the last training y'all had that I remember was out at Walking, and that's been some years ago.
Right.
But it was a big to do, and for the average layman that doesn't get involved in it, they don't realize just the kind of communication and what it takes for them to do their job. Once they get on the scene, I think getting on the scene, the dispatch side of it, the communication, we've got that under control. But once they get there, who knows to tell this truck to do this, and they gotta have. I didn't even realize the kind of water it takes and how to get more water, keep coming. So, and no one will appreciate this until their house is on fire or their land. And so, I strongly recommend that we do that here in our budget. But we got your letter. We'll take it. If we can do more than that, I think we will. But right now, that's kind of where I'm going to recommend, and I hope we don't make too many people too upset with that.
I can't imagine that anybody would reject that. I certainly will bring it up at the association meeting Thursday night.
Okay.
And I wouldn't anticipate any opposition to that at this point. You have? Absolutely.
I'll try to be there, and if anybody needs to, do some gut punching on me, I'll be ready.
Also, any time we have a meeting, we meet the first Thursday of every month. All the commissioners are always welcome to come. And we'd like to have you there if you possibly could. All of you have fire departments in your various precincts, and we're an oddball bunch. We go from very few volunteers all the way to a paid department, so we've got quite an array. I might also mention on the side here, as the association president, I've been participating in receiving supplies from the state for this coronavirus emergency. I might let you know that at my best estimate, and Matt, you might be able to tell further than I can, we probably gathered up $250,000 worth of supplies for this county. That's everything from masks to gowns to face masks to goggles, you name it. Only thing we can't seem to get is gloves. Everybody wants gloves. Those supplies are going to fire departments, EMS, hospitals, law enforcement. Anybody in the county who's considered a first responder is considered the first priority. Then I think the judge has also talked to nursing homes.
Yes.
Because our feeling about nursing homes is very simple. And that is, if they don't protect their people, the first responders are going to get overwhelmed pretty quickly. And as you well know, that's a vulnerable population. And we don't help them, then they overload the first responder system. Beyond that, they're talking about schools coming up here shortly, trying to protect those victims as much as we possibly can. Mike Thompson, who is the supply officer out at LMC, he and I go every Thursday, pick up whatever we can. It's delivered from Austin. It is supplies that FEMA will eventually pay for. The state is paying for it right now. It's not anything out of our pocket. And, we have a space to put all this stuff in and grow back at the old elementary school. And so we're storing as much as we possibly can, simply because we don't know when this is gonna dry up. Somebody somewhere is getting rid of some supplies, I'll tell you that. They're all coming from China. That's just the way it is. Can't find a supplier anywhere else. But we are trying to make sure the limestone county is taken care of. Right, as an association, we also participate in. I thought you did know that while we were here. Okay.
Thank you very much. I witnessed that, and it's a big to-do, not only for y'all to go and get it, and the sheriff's department has volunteered to help out and unload it, many times, so, it's a joint effort. Thank everybody for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, we'll keep going then. The next item is going to be, discuss and take action on the closure of Park Road 35 for September 5th and 6th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Walk around.
No, this is not the walk run. This is something completely different. I was hoping we'd have, oh, there he is. Come on up and tell us what this is all about.
Hi everyone, my name is Mike Satterfield. I own a building here in downtown Groesbeck, and I'm launching an event hopefully called the Groesbeck Grand Prix, which we want to hold out at Fort Parker. It'll be a time trial type event and a car show. I work in the automotive industry, so I do that car stuff. But as I shared with Judge Duncan, we're expecting this first event to generate probably about $100,000 of economic activity in the area. The event's fully insured. We have a great safety plan. We're working with local EMS and police departments and both the EDCs in Mahia and Groesbeck, so we're hoping it'll be a really great event.
What are you planning on doing?
We're actually gonna basically would be running vintage race cars down Park Road 35 in a time trial, basically against the clock, one at a time.
Now, of course, my initial response to that was, wait a minute, I can just see people, the cars going off the road and hitting tons of people, but that's not the case.
No.
All the spectators will be up on one safety end where they start,
Correct.
and there'll be no one at the other end or down the road to it.
There'll be no one along the entire road until the very end where Fort Parker is, and along the way we'll have hay bales and EMS and safety people. It's being managed by the Sports Car Club of America's director, safety, Richard Tomlin, and we have a bunch of safety race people up there doing all the safety tech.
You're talking about doing it past where the houses and stuff on Park
Correct.
35?
Correct.
Down towards the fort.
Correct. They'd be leaving just past that and then going towards the fort and then ending at the fort.
Are y'all having the car show and stuff at the fort?
Car show will be at the fort. So that's where all spectators, all vendors.
Now the spectators, if you close Park Road 35, now you gonna get the spectators.
They'll come in down the other road that comes to the other side, yeah.
And you say you are insured?
And we are insured through K&K Motorsports Insurance, who's covering the county and Fort Parker.
So we will be listed as
She'll
initially
be listed as, yeah, identified from the, plus everyone has to sign a pretty intensive waiver, which basically makes them take responsibility, have their own insurance on top of it to be a participant in the event.
My initial thought was we don't own that road,
No.
but then I found out that maybe we do now. So,
They said it was our road. And then they got the stapling in there and re-talking. So, you know.
I'm just telling you what we found out
Yeah.
since then. I know the city of Groesbeck's big excited about it, the city of Mahia is big excited about it. They think it's gonna bring a ton of people to Limestone County. Of course, we worry about their safety of it.
Sure, yeah, and this year, obviously, we're taking all the precautions from the state. State has motorsports activity for outdoor guidelines for COVID, which are all being adhered to. again, the safety wise, everyone who's coming that's gonna be actually driving a vehicle down the road is a licensed racing driver with either the SCCA, NASA, Vintage Auto Racing Association, or SVRA, which is another racing association. These aren't amateurs. These cars all have fire systems and roll cages. They're legitimate race cars, but they're all vintage race cars, so it's not like there's gonna be ridiculously high horsepower vehicles running down the road. They're mostly classic 1985 and down vintage cars.
And how far is the length that you're doing?
The total length is about 1.4 miles.
So you're going up 1.4 miles is the total?
The total, yeah, just from one end to the other.
Because you can get those speed up at 1.4
So you're
miles,
going-
1/4 mile, you can't, I don't think.
Where the crossroads are,
Mhm.
the old Maya Road in there.
Okay.
There's a house or two on that.
Mhm.
You're going on down past it.
That's when the start line will be past that, correct?
And then there's another road that turns to the right.
Yeah, that road, we
Block that off.
blanked that, that would be blocked off, and it's on the safety plan that I submitted to Scott. That road blocked off, and an EMS unit will be stationed there to respond if there is an accident. We'll have 6 course workers along the course itself with radios and flags and all that. We're also be putting in braking zone lines, so basically signs that'll show people where they need to brake ahead of time for curves or anything coming up.
I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm trying to get your business. Sure. Was Prairie Hill and stuff installed about?
Prairie Hill, unfortunately, is too damaged. That surface is too bad. Those old squares of concrete are all misshapen now. So
And that happens from racing on them probably, right?
no, that happens from being from World War II. It's pretty old.
Well, there's a lot of racing out there.
Yeah, Prairie Hill is a drag strip. These are all road racing cars. So these are the type of cars that would compete in like Le Mans or vintage racing type events on road courses. It's very similar to events that are held in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix is a huge economic driver for the city of Pittsburgh. The Goodwood Festival of Speed's a massive one for Surrey. Those events, as they've matured over the last 20, 30 years, generate between $12 and $30 million for the respective communities and economic activity as they become larger events. And other events have formed around them, like other car shows, motorcycle events, and things like that. The outcry from people all over Texas has been they really want to come to this event. We've had people pre-registered from far away to North Carolina, bringing vintage NASCARs, including NASCAR drivers and retired crew chiefs, and a really big interest in people from all over the country that are really excited about this event. And we'll be staying in hotels here and coming for multiple days here. So.
Anything else you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so
Any other questions?
It's a great event for the community and great food for community vendors.
It's going to sit here the 5th and 6th.
Well, you're gonna close the road 2 days.
Just for a partial amount of time from 10 to 6
Yeah.
each day.
Well, I mean, I know the road, but if you're going past the house down there, and then you're gonna block off the other road that comes in to it, it shouldn't be a problem, within the traffic, stopping, keeping anybody from getting in and out their house.
So you have a car parked out there everywhere, probably.
The car spectators will be parked up on the fort, on the left side of the fort, where they have the shooting range area, will be for our spectator parking. So we don't expect to have anyone really parked out on any of the surrounding roads. Everyone will be contained within 4 parkers, all 4 parkers in that area.
And then they're gonna walk, like down the road?
No, we're not allowing any spectators along the tree line section of the road at all. No, the only people that will be down there will be safety crews and flaggers who will basically flag cars if there is any incident. They'll have yellow flags to slow people down if there's an incident, and EMS people. But I've operated events like this in other parts of the country and in Mexico, and we've never had a major incident at all. Usually, if a car breaks, is usually why we have to close down and stop for removing the broken car, because they're all old cars. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward type of event with, again, no fender-to-fender racing, so you don't have cars competing against each other side by side. It's one car at a time.
Well, I guess we need to make a decision if we want to close that road those 2 days.
Well, I really don't see what it's gonna hurt, anybody, using the road, as long as they kind of put up. What,
I see you precinct 3, that's precinct 3.
well, I know that.
You want to make a motion on that, then, Jerry?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we, let it close the road on September the 5th, 6, 10 AM to 6 PM.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. It barely squeaked in there, didn't it? All right. Item number 13, discuss take action on, imposition of optional fees for calendar year 2021 for the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles. This is, additional fees that, the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles has come out with. You'll need to, approve these, if you want to do this. At your place, you have a list of the different, what it cannot go over.
What do we say that right now?
The Yeah, I was, Stacy was going to give us that information. I guess she didn't make it. Tell you what, let's pass on this and we'll come back to it so I can get the exact information. Okay. Let's go ahead then, pass number 13, and we'll give the tax office and make sure we're up to date on that. First item is on some budget transfers. We're getting that time of the year where we need to transfer a little bit of money around. One of the things that I've always said on my budgets is that they are a work in progress. We can't just say it's going to be a rock granite, and this is what it's going to be. We can't ever change it because we don't know exactly what it's going to be. As far as JP3, Sherry Lenore, has asked that we can give her a little bit more money in her office supply line, and there's a few other lines there that she needed just to even out, if you will. But the office supply line, she ran out of, and so we're adjusting that in the next budget to make sure that that's what she needs. And we don't think that it's unfair. She's actually asking for around $216.93 to be increased on those line items. And we're finding that money out of our contingencies. We still have a little bit of money in that in our contingencies. So what's the pleasure of the court for precinct 3?
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? So we got tons of money now. All right, next item is going to be a budget transfer. This is a capital project fund. This is to cover the year's subscription to our satellite radios. This is something that we did back whenever we were doing the satellite project, and one of the things that came up was an annual fee that we have to pay, and I don't think that we included that in the last budget for whatever reasons. I'll explain for that. But anyway, we need to be able to get that money over so we can legally or officially pay for the monies for the satellite subscription each year. We're finding that money in different ways, different places, but I'd ask that y'all go ahead and let's make sure that our subscription for those satellite radios, which by the way, I guess I'll ask, the sheriff is really the only one in there. How are we doing on the radio? Sheriff, are y'all like them? Are you able to find? I guess I could have asked recorder. They're the ones that are really, how do you feel it's working for your department?
Our guys, some of them working real well. Some of them are still at the kinks of working out. We had a long conversation with Matt a couple of weeks ago.
And I think the area that would really shine is in our volunteer fire departments, where they're out in areas where they were having trouble, and I think they're working great. I haven't heard any complaints from them yet, so. Anyway, what's the pleasure of the board as far as making this budget transfer?
Don't move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's keep moving money around. Next item is going to be the county extension office. This is to cover a conference of schools and office supply shortage. They are moving some of their money out of the stock show and the 4-H events, and they're moving it over to need some more office supplies. And they need to send the lady down there to a school. I questioned the school, because wondering how are we sending people off to conferences and schools where this COVID thing going. But anyway, that's what the school is actually about, is how to handle the COVID and how we can, the extension office can help us work more predominant with COVID disease. So if y'all don't mind, I think this is, in looking at this is money well spent. I'd ask that we make this work. So, do you have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And last but not least, of all places, the county auditor needs money.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
This is to cover the cost of the new version of QuickBooks. And what they're doing is they're decreasing the conference schools and dues, which they weren't able to use all their money this year. And they want to move it down to office supply and postage. The total around $800. So we're just moving it from one to the other, nothing new to the county. What's the pleasure of the board?
Don't move.
Second.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Last but not least, the most, item on the agenda, number 18, is adjournment.
Don't move.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. All right, thank you for coming.